Matt Fenson,
Yeah.
Director, Business Development,
Yes.
Enviro Pacific. Welcome to your boardroom.
Thank you.
Thank you for lending it to us. We appreciate it. As nomads, we are desperate to sit anywhere, so we're pleased to be here at Enviro Pacific today.
That's a pleasure.
Another overnight success. It's been 10, 11 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
10 years this year.
It's a fantastic
February.
story.
Yeah.
Some major players involved. We'd love to talk a little about that journey and your most recent journey into P&G. We'll talk about that as well, if that's okay.
That's fine, yep.
Okay.
Not a problem.
If we look back to where you were 10 years ago, are you where you expected to be 10 years on?
Oh, I think we've certainly outperformed our expectations there, Mark.
Yeah.
We started with quite humble beginnings in a small unit at Darling Point in Sydney, where I lived. So, I guess not only geographically, but the number of people and the diverse range of services.
But 10 years ago, the green space and
Yeah.
enviro engineering and that sort of space was less than embryonic.
Yeah, it was, and it was mainly delivered by the larger players, so there was certainly a gap at the smaller end of the market and a large enough gap to capitalise on to move into, providing you were nimble and flexible in the way you did it.
And that continues. I'll stop giving you the plugs, but that continues 10 years on. Let's talk about, are there one or two strategies, Matthew, that you kind of look back and say, yeah, they were pivotal?
I think, first and foremost, really, I think what's added to the success is employing young, energetic people, really trying to keep a hands-on approach to the way we deliver our projects and service our clients. So if you've got young engineers, I'm talking even procuring those sort of personnel during their fourth year or third or fourth year of university, and embracing them and giving them the support they need to go out and grow themselves as well, and as a consequence the companies seem to have grown. So that was certainly, I think, one of the key factors.
Okay. And it's really interesting because the niche you created was away from those big leather chair old engineering companies.
Yes.
Who almost by definition didn't employ these young people.
Yeah, that's right. I guess they were developed businesses at the time, and they end up, I think, as competitors, a little more clumsy in the way they approach and service their clients, probably not as personable and relationship driven. And also I think that comes with the scale of projects that they deliver too. When they're multi-million dollar jobs, they need that type of overhead structure and experience in the team, whereas the smaller projects you can, I think, get away with without that overhead structure.
That depth, or that you're being very polite.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's cool. You work for some of those big companies now.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a consequence of our growth, we're not really becoming one in the sense that we're certainly not the scale of some of our competitors who are ASX listed, but we're certainly of a scale where we need to be mindful of organisational structure and change in the business all the time, and of making sure that we can be flexible and fast on our feet and provide that detailed service.
That's always a challenge, being fast.
It is.
Yeah. Is there a process? Or is it just culture?
I think culture plays a part in it, but the challenge in getting it right never stops. We're constantly revising the organisational structure, looking at what's working, what's not working for us. It's an ongoing challenge, and communication too, making sure the wealth of individuals' experience is capitalised on by everyone within the group having an understanding of each other's competencies.
And you've just added 45
extra
people?
45 people, which was a huge bite for us.
JFTA,
who specialise in petrochemical services. Quite a diversification for us too, in that they do a lot of retank installation work for the major oil companies in the retail sector. So we've had to get across new systems, very QHSE focused, and make sure that we maintain our system now to keep accreditations and make sure that we're doing those projects right.
Without giving away, I guess, commercial secrets, why do companies hire Enviro Pacific? What do you think's special about what you do?
Unlike a lot of our competitors, I think all we do is specialise in providing the petrochemical services and solutions practical solutions to soil and water problems, contamination problems. A lot of the other companies tend to dabble in it. They may be demolition companies as their core business, or they may be civil engineering companies, where all we do is focus in that niche. As a consequence, I think our systems, I'd argue, would be amongst the best in the business. Equally, we're very technology focused, so we don't just peddle one solution. We'll look at the problem from a helicopter view and offer some innovation and smarts to try and get it right.
You have technology here available to you that is only available through Enviro Pacific in Australia, haven't you?
Not as such. I mean,
that's fine. Keep going.
I mean, there are a couple of other people that have some of the technology, and I'll look at the thermal desorption as an example. I mean, they're big units. They're out from the United States, and they're here to treat complex chlorinated compounds. And the process and control and getting that right, so you're not generating other emissions and byproducts during that destruction, is important, and it's high-end technology. Other examples are just, I mean, we do have an in-house laboratory, but we really don't press any internal, I suppose whilst we've got IP, we don't have specific products that we promote as the universal remedy to solve problems. We really do just look at just robust chemistry and applying the right technology.
Okay. 10 years, what surprised you in the evolution of Enviro Pacific from a business perspective?
I think that the challenges and the difficulty in growing geographically when our pockets aren't really deep enough. And there's a little bit of timing there, but we had a dabble in the Middle East, and we set an office up in Cairo, and that was a failure. We went over to New Zealand, and the market was just simply too small for us over there. So we had money going out but not coming back in. It's a model that we're very comfortable with in the domestic scene, and I don't think it was as easily transposable as we'd first thought or hoped it would be into those other overseas markets. So we've really learnt to tread carefully. Yeah,
and you've just been to PNG,
yeah,
which is almost domestic, isn't it?
It's very close to it. I look at the challenges with that Cairo office and the time and money that you expend getting over there. It's simply just too far away. But PNG, 3-hour flight from Brisbane, very low tier infrastructure at the moment, a lot of big resource companies pushing in there with either exploration or development phase projects, and they're companies that I think we can service. And there's not that real start-up risk in that sense. When you can meet those ASX listed companies here, you can talk to them about what they're doing in New Guinea, and then sort of hopefully crystallise some opportunities before you have to waste time going over and starting cold.
Yes. The next 12 months, will there be change? You'll be, I guess, immersing yourselves in the JFTA team and vice versa. Is there anything else that's going to happen?
We'd certainly like to get over to Western Australia, right. But we sort of view that at the moment as like working in another country. Obviously different time zones, and it comes with its whole unique set of challenges. It's quite a parochial place. If you're going over there, you need to certainly have some connections, have some alliances, have quite a serious move, I think, with some good expertise, and find that little purple patch where we can get some cash flow reasonably quickly.
As short as that. Cash flow is good.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We give everyone an opportunity to have a bit of a rant. We have at Hunter Business Insider the opportunity to change anything you want in business. What could we change for you or Enviro Pacific to make it easier? What would you change in the business environment?
Within the company or within the industry?
Within the industry.
Look, I think it's slowly, my goal would just be better communication within the company, and finding a way and means to get a real cohesiveness within the group, be it through social media or internal intranets. I don't profess to be a computer expert, but I find that people are still, it's just inherent that they like to pull in other directions, and rather than really think about pulling as a team sometimes, and you've really got to pull them back into line and say, no, we're all running in the same direction. So some way of improving that. That is seemed to be happening though at industry level. There's some really good groups out at the moment, like Eco Forum and some of the associations that are forming in contaminated land space. I think in terms of a business drive, we'd like to start moving out of the metropolitan areas and into the resource sector a little more. That'd be my bucket list, Mark.
We're getting close to July 1, the carbon levy or tax or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
Does that have implications for what Enviro Pacific does?
It certainly does. Some of the tenders now will call for some triple bottom line accounting. They'll want to evaluate how sustainable the remediation option that we put forward is. So we are, and whilst it's in its infancy for us, because we haven't really had to embrace it previously, we're now having to look at the total carbon footprint of a lot of our technologies and report that. You can almost give a hierarchy in a lot of tender submissions about what is preferred, even though some of them may not be the most economical, but people, I guess our clients, could still make a decision based on...
Well, the economy, how they measure economy has now changed. They've got to change that, haven't they?
It's not just monetary, is it, anymore?
No.
Yeah. So there's certainly, it'll become an increasingly bigger consideration, I think, in the tender assessment process for a lot of clients, particularly government clients, moving forward.
I love your balcony rail where you can actually sit a stubby. I think that's the way to encourage communication.
Well, it's safety driven. You don't want to be knocking stubbies off the balcony rail. It's
OH&S, I think it's a wonderful thing.
Checklist.
Thank you, Matthew.
No worries. Thank you, Mark.